Hi, friends. Welcome to the Mastermind Moments podcast.
Hosted by your pals, Josh and Sasha.
Join us during our weekly mastermind as we collaborate on how to make the most out of our lives.
Not only are we going to mastermind our careers, we're going to work on all areas of life together.
Let's do it. Listen in as we make the most of our mastermind moments.
Hi, hello.
Hi. Did I just walk in on you or join in on you having a little party by yourself?
If you walked in maybe 10 minutes previously, I was jumping on a little rebounder, listening to music, but then I sat down and the music was still going, so potentially.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Having a good time by yourself.
Yeah, gotta
So
keep
pumped.
spirits high. Doing our best to change our physiology over here.
That's it. That's all we can do.
Oh, how are you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. If you'd asked me 24 hours ago, I was in a very different headspace. I had a weird few days over
Okay.
Christmas. It was challenging to say the least. But yeah, I took yesterday as an opportunity to process everything. And we can talk about that. But I'm in a much better headspace now. I feel much more zen, much calmer. So yeah, no complaints. How are you?
I'm also okay. I've also it's been pretty rough, I'd say, the last couple of days. And so
Okay.
I think maybe same vibe. We'll see. Maybe same, but different. But I'm okay. I'm doing my best to get from okay to good or great and using the tools in my toolkit. But yeah, it's been intense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. It's funny you come out the other side of Christmas and you expect it to be all joy and love and happiness. It's not always the way, especially
No.
as we get older, I think.
Yeah, completely. It's very much so this. I think it's the same thing where you think this time between Christmas and New Year's is that nice rest period, and then it never ends up being that ever.
No, literally, it's so true. For me, I don't know if you're I assume you're working. Yeah, so for me, I'm off. We close over the Christmas period, which is really nice. So I have 9 days off in total before we start again in the new year.
Yeah.
But it's been so full on seeing family just so busy. And then I have these 2 days, yesterday and today, where I've got nothing on and I'm back at home and I don't have to do anything. I don't have commitments. But I've packed out both days with errands and shit that I have to do.
Yeah.
And it's today is fucking manic. And it's not really what I wanted. It feels like I'm just not getting any rest at all over these 9 days.
Yeah.
But it's always the way. It's always the way.
Yeah, exactly. Very much so that. Before we get into it, because I'm sure both of us will have very similar updates, because it seems like we're both in pretty similar headspaces right now. Let's spin a wheel. And this one was chosen by choice, just saying. Crazy enough, because how do you maintain a positive mindset when dealing with health challenges?
Health? Are we talking just in general health? I mean, mental, physical?
It's under physical.
Under
health.
physical. Okay. Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, how do you maintain a positive mindset while dealing with physical or challenges?
Yeah, it's a very appropriate question.
For me too.
Which is, I can't believe that question's come up. What are the chances?
No, seriously though, I did close my eyes and pick one.
Yeah, because I was incredibly sick a couple of weeks ago, and I think it was really hard to stay positive. And actually, I was just talking to, so just before we jumped on here, one of the girls who's moving in next month came round just to have a look and to catch up. And she was like, when you get that sick, you don't even want to watch TV. You don't want to. I went into those few days where I was off work, and I was like, I'm just going to binge stuff. It's basically 3 days off work.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like it. And actually, in the end, I didn't watch anything because I couldn't bring myself. I didn't even have the energy to watch anything. So it's really hard to keep that kind of positive mindset, or any kind of a mindset, really, because it just feels like everything is obliterated in those few days.
Yeah.
I don't really, I think I'm struggling to answer that, to be honest, because it's not something I'm very good at, because I'm one of those people I think it's quite a male thing. When men get sick, it's the man flu, right? And men feel so sorry for themselves and find it really hard to stay positive and to step into kind of that masculine mindset. Um, so yeah, it's something that I really struggle with. So I don't really know how to answer that. Do you have an answer for it?
I'm going through something really not similar because I wasn't sick, but I just haven't been on my health game in a while. And I either haven't been working out or haven't been eating well. And since being home for the holidays, like it's been both and both to the extreme. And I can feel my clothes getting tighter. And then as soon as that happens, I start to beat myself up and get really deconstructive self-criticism. And honestly, I'm struggling to answer it too. Today I'm like, okay, like I know that I know I do best in my life when I'm boosting myself up and not tearing myself down, and not getting stuck in the self-deconstructive criticism loop. So it's okay. I react better to positive reinforcements as long as today I just do a couple of things like to feel good about myself and what I'm doing. Okay, great. Before we got on, I meditated and for 5 minutes and jumped. And the meditation, I was thinking about my to-do list and work the whole time. I could not sleep because of work and like the admin and everything going on, like waking up from stress, like not just not being able to do it. So sat in meditation and then jumped on the rebounder for a song, and like doing these two things that are normally so fulfilling and bring me a lot of fuel my fire, or just like I'm going through the motions of doing it. But that's the first step, right? Is going through the motions of doing the thing, even if you don't feel like doing the thing. And I know I'm going to get a workout in tonight, the first one for a while. And today yes, I'm working today, but I'm spending a lot of time today working on myself. Like I have this recording, I have therapy today, and I have coaching today, and Steph's coming tonight. So it's like a quadruple whammy of come on
Mm,
girl, let's get back into it. And just allowing myself to do that is, I think, good. But yeah, like maintaining a positive mindset, I'd say just based on what I'm doing today, and I can't tell you if it works or not, I assume it's going to, but do the things you know that are going to make you feel good. Even if you don't feel like it, just go through the motions because
for
momentum is the
sure.
most important.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's largely also about giving yourself something to look forward to. So for me, there's two things. First of all, supplements I think are really important in those kind of times where you're not prioritizing your physical health, you're not feeling well. It's supplements. So for me, I've always been, I wouldn't say anti-medication, like I'm not one of those conspiracy theorists, but I've never been one to take medication or to think like that. And it drives Savita insane. Every time I'm sick, Savita tries to get me to take medication. I'm like, nah, I don't want to take
I'm
that.
the
And
same
it
way.
drives her in. I don't really have a reason behind it. I'm not against the idea of it, and it's going to make me feel better probably. But this last time I was so sick, I was like, I have to take medication. Like, I just have to. But what I did, and this isn't such a huge thing here, but I think it's probably bigger in the States, is electrolytes. I drank a lot of electrolytes to try and replenish, and I felt so much better every time I did. And I'm actually now trying to make it a daily habit to drink electrolytes, whether I'm feeling well or not. So supplements, I think, are really important, medication, but also just giving yourself something to look forward to. So for me, I spent those few days going, I'm immensely grateful for my health and I can't wait to be healthy again. And just it is a meditation, it's a form of meditation
Yeah.
on your health and your good health. And really, every time I get sick, I'm like, I take my good health for granted and I don't want to do that. And so I feel so excited to be healthy again. And that I find makes me feel a lot better about it as well and really helps me get through it. So yeah, I think there's definitely things that I do put into place, but it feels much harder in the moment, or it doesn't feel like it makes an impact in the moment, but then you look back at it afterwards and you're like, yeah, okay, that does really help.
Yeah. Yeah. In the moment, sometimes it just doesn't quite feel.
No, because you're
Yeah,
so bogged down by your physical health, and by
exactly.
the way that you're feeling, or the lack of what you're not doing, and it's hard to get back into that groove like what you've just described. It's hard to get back into the swing of things when you're in a bit of a slump. So yeah, I think there's definitely it was a hard question for me to answer in the first instance, but then when I heard you talking, I was like, yeah, there are things that I do. There are things that I put into place that make me feel better in the moment.
Yeah, completely, completely. Anyway, so I know you said in the beginning that you're like on the struggle bus too. What's happening with you? I can't remember last time we recorded. It must have been last week.
Yeah, about a week or so ago. I think just before Christmas. It was the Friday before Christmas. I had a really weird Christmas period. I was really looking forward to it because it was at my mum's new place and the whole family was going to be there. And I love Christmas because it's the one time of year that my entire family comes together. All the aunts, uncles, cousins, everyone comes together. And I love it. Like, it's such a nice time of year and really just takes me back to my childhood every time. And I think that's probably why it makes me feel so good and is so exciting. I think that's largely it's an interesting topic, actually. I was thinking about this earlier about what the magic of Christmas is and why, as adults, we get so excited about it. And I think, actually, at its core, is that it's such a magical experience when we're kids and when we're growing up. It's one of the best times of year for a lot of people. And that magic, every time Christmas comes around, it just brings out our inner child. I think that's a large part of the reason why we get so excited and jolly around Christmas. Obviously, there's lots of reasons, but I think that's probably a huge thing that people don't really necessarily talk about as much. So anyway, I was looking forward to it, and Christmas came around, and it's my last Christmas with Savita before she goes away. Hopefully, she'll be back for the next Christmas, but she's about to leave in about a week. And as it gets closer, I've been feeling more and more sad about it and more worried about what's going to happen and the direction it's heading in and how I'm going to react emotionally, how she's going to react. It's going to be tough. And I'm just getting, it feels very real suddenly as it approaches. And I thought, right now I'm pouring myself into it head first, 100% effort, 110% effort. And my goal is here, first of all, to see how I feel at the end of it, but also, um, I want her to come back and I want her to think about the UK and about me and my family from a perspective of I need to get back. I give her motivation to come back. And a huge part of that is my family because she is very integrated into my family. And so a huge part of convincing her that this is the place for her is to feel loved by my family. And in that regard, Christmas was an absolute fucking disaster.
Oh my God.
Um, I don't know how much detail I'll go into. I'm just trying to think how much I should say. But there were multiple incidents where my family showed a bit of a racist side. And my family all knows Savita very well. Every single one of them. They all love her to bits. As I say, she's very integrated into the family. I make the occasional silly, semi-racist joke towards her, and she takes it. Like, and she laughs about it, and it's like the dynamic of our relationship because that's my sense of humor anyway. I'm not racist, but it's just the
You tease
dark
each other.
humor.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. We tease each other, and she gives it to me as well. And my mum has a role in that as well because I think she's seen the dynamic of our relationship, and she gets involved sometimes as well. And it's just like a running joke. But at Christmas, it went a little bit too far. And yeah, I won't go into the detail, but we were playing a game, and my cousin said something towards her to describe the thing she was trying to get everyone to guess as part of the game.
Yeah.
But the most hurtful thing, which I will go into detail about, is my mum was sitting there in the corner with everyone in the room and basically started going through her text. She was on her phone and she said, "Oh, I've got a text from Krishan. Josh, do you remember who Krishan was?" And I said, "Yeah, he was our tour guide when we were in Jaipur in India." And she said, "Yeah, he's wished happy Merry Christmas. It's really sweet." And she said, "Oh, and was this another one of our tour guides?" And then she mentioned Savita's dad's name. And I was like, are you joking? Are you taking the piss? Because she's met him. She spent lots of time with him earlier this year. And I was like, you have to be joking, right? And Savita is so close with her family and is so desperate for our families to merge and integrate with each other. So it's really important to her that something as basic as saving her dad's number in her phone, right? Which I think for your son's girlfriend's father, you should absolutely have his number saved in your phone, especially considering they've met and there's going to be conversations they'll need to have in the future. And so it's just a deeply, deeply hurtful thing for Savita, and it really upset her. And then, yeah, as I say, there are a host of other incidents that happened related to racial jokes. And it was just really hurtful. And then the next day, and she was really upset about it. And then the next day, we saw my dad, and my dad was giving us all the gifts that he got us, as in me and my two sisters. And then he got to Savita, and again, Savita is very much integrated into the family, very close with my dad. We've been together for almost 2 years now, me and Savita, not me and my dad. And she opened the gift, and it was like a small jar of honey. And listen,
Yeah.
she's not materialistic, I'm not materialistic, but the amount of thought that had gone into that gift was practically non-existent.
Yeah.
It was a cop out, and Savita and I had bought my dad like a really nice, expensive bag, so we'd put a lot of thought and time and money into his gift, and his returning favor was a jar of honey, and it just felt. I think it just was a punch in the face, because for Savita, she always says with me, but I think in general, as you should, the effort she puts in, she hopes to get it back.
Yeah.
And the thought and the emotion that she puts in, she hopes to get it back. And she just very blatantly didn't get that from my dad.
Yeah.
It was, I saw that, and I thought he was going to give her something else, but I was like, that's just, I think, hurtful. It just shows kind of the lack of regard for her.
Yeah.
And it really, really upset me. And it just felt like we finished those 2 days. And she said to me, she was like, I don't want to come to Christmas anymore. Next year, you can go and do your thing with your family, and I'll just figure my own day out. I don't want to be a part of it. She was really hurt by just a whole series of things that have happened. It wasn't the individual incidents, it was the whole series of things.
Yeah.
And so I've spent the last couple of days since then just really feeling this pain inside me, like this anger and upset towards my family as a whole, not just my dad, not just my mum, just my whole family who got involved in this. And I wrote down a list yesterday of things to process through, and these were all on there. So it was like multiple bullet points. And I basically did a journaling exercise where I went through each of the things one by one and basically tried to justify or come up with a solution to it. And the solution, for the most part, is having a conversation with these people. So having a conversation with my mum about how hurtful what she did was, having a conversation with my dad about... My dad's a more difficult one, because my dad and I found that our relationship has really been floundering recently since both of my sisters have now moved out of the country. He makes pretty much no effort to see me. It's me that instigates. It's me that's saying, do you want to come see this football match this weekend? Even it was me that... He's got a new girlfriend who's been with since the summer, July, I think. And it's been me leading the charge on meeting her. I've been the one pushing to go and get dinner with her. And it's just constantly, there is zero effort from my dad. And I said to Bella a couple of days ago that it feels like our relationship is really dying as a result. He is prioritizing the wrong things completely. He is prioritizing his new girlfriend over his kids, over all three of us. He's prioritizing work. He's prioritizing his house in the countryside over us. Like, basically, we are absolute bottom of the pile. And the only time I'll ever see him these days is either if I make the effort, or if he's had a last minute cancellation and he'll reach out to me and say, do you want to get dinner tonight? And most of the time I can't, because I'm I'm booked up a lot of the time. So that's a conversation I need to have with my dad, is I need more effort from you. But actually, I don't know if I should have that conversation. My dad has always been like this. It's got a lot worse recently, but he's always had issues prioritizing and being a dad to adult kids. So how do I approach that? And in my journaling session yesterday, I wrote down, he's not going to make the effort, even if I have that conversation with him. So it has to come from me. And I just need to make more of an effort. I need to try and book time in with him every week, every couple of weeks. But it has to come from me, or I won't get that time, and the relationship will just die, which is the direction it feels like it's heading in at the moment, which is really sad. So I love my dad. I love my dad to bits, and he's just a very, very complex person. And I don't know if it's worth having that conversation with him. So anyway, that's a lot of stuff to unpack. But as I say, I journaled through it, but I think there's still a lot of work that I need to do on things, for example, that about my dad. It's just been a very heavy few days in that regards, just emotionally heavy, a lot to process through. And I want to step into the new year with a kind of clean mind, clean slate. So I just need to, I think, put in the work over the next couple of days and really, yeah, process through these things, I think.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think about this time of year, we talk about the wheel of life all the time and how there are certain areas of life that are going really well and certain areas of life that need love. And this is no exception to that. Like, I'm sure you're feeling challenged in certain areas and feeling good in other areas, and me too. And one area that I think is really relatable and very common for a lot of people is when you're around your family for the holidays. There's a lot of family challenges and issues. Everyone's together and everyone can go back to old patterns, and you see all these interesting and sometimes toxic family dynamics come up. I think it's a very relatable thing to go through a lot of family shit around the holidays, and for that area of your wheel of life to be feeling a little bit lower. I will say, I had a couple of thoughts as you were talking about it. Number one is, as far as like reciprocal, the thing about your mom and the saving the phone number, I get it. And then also at the same time, my knee jerk is, yeah, maybe she should have saved the number and maybe she should have remembered the name. But I feel like for me, like when I hear it, it just sounds like absent-minded, like mistake, like just honest mistake, which is still hurtful and it's still upsetting and it doesn't take away from that. But it sounds like, just knowing her too, it just sounds like honest mistake.
It is. That's actually what I wrote down under that heading in my journal. I was like, she made an honest mistake. It was deeply hurtful, but my mum, there was no malice behind it. She wasn't trying to be racist. She wasn't trying to, there was no malice behind it. And I wrote that down. I was like, it was just, maybe it was a joke that she was making and it wasn't an honest mistake. Maybe it was a joke and it went sour. It didn't land like she thought it would.
Yeah.
It was a thoughtless joke, or maybe it was an honest mistake. And I think that's probably the more likely of the options. It was an honest mistake, but it was still deeply hurtful.
Yeah.
And it's just, I think the conversation I need to have with her is, listen, this family dynamic is really, really important for Savita. And I need more from you, basically. I need you to maybe every now and then reach out to her dad and wish him a happy new year or something, and actually just drop him a message every now and then, because that will mean a lot to Savita.
Yeah.
If she sees an active effort from my family or from my mum especially. She's asked the same of me because she feels that I haven't made enough effort with her family as I probably should have.
Yeah.
It's fair to expect the same from my mum. But yeah, anyway, point is that I get what you're saying, and I think it probably was an honest mistake.
Yeah. And at the same time, something else I'm hearing too, as more of an overall theme, is this, and you're also getting post Tony Robbins Sasha, so just keep that in mind. But coming into any relationship, romantic, family, friend, whatever, and this is something I get caught in all the time, with giving love with the expectation to receive it, is just setting yourself up for disappointment in a lot of ways, because you're putting expectations on people. And at the end of the day, relationships are not always going to be completely 100% mutual. There's a give and take for sure. And it's also just, it becomes transactional, like to a certain point. It becomes transactional to a certain point where it's okay, I'm going to give this love, but if I don't receive the same back, I'm sad about it. And it's fair to feel that way, because at the same time, when you see the other person's actions towards you, it becomes very clear about like where you stand with them. And it's that reality that hurts. It's the other people showing you how much they care about you with getting you a jar of honey or making these jokes towards you or whatever. That reality hurts because it's showing you, oh, maybe I'm giving so much love and it's not mutual. But then expecting people to do that, and it sets people up for a transactional relationship that's not entirely it's not entirely there. And I'd say the same thing to some degree with you and your dad and your relationship with him, where it's like, at the end of the day, we can only control our actions and our reactions. That's it. Like, you can only control how we're giving to people, what we're doing, and then how we're reacting to the external world around us. Like, we can't control other people. We can't control how they're going to be in their dynamics. And sometimes they're going to be great and sometimes they're going to fucking disappoint us. That's just life. And at the same time, is it love if you're giving it? Like, what's the difference between love and like a transactional relationship? Like, love is giving it without expecting to receive anything, and transactional is I'm giving this to receive something back. And is it pure love if you're just giving to receive something back? I don't know. Sure, to some degree, but I'm not sure how much. But at the same time, if you can only control your reactions, your actions and reactions, obviously it makes sense that's very upsetting and disappointing, because I think it's confronting you guys both in the face that your relationship is changing and the dynamic that you have isn't the one that you want. And I'd say with the two of you and your family, but also with you and your dad, it's something I feel challenged with my dad too, is having a meaningful mutual relationship. But I think getting to the point where it's okay, I can only control my actions and reactions. So in my world, like, how can I take action and do this? But at the same time, I think it does come down to having a conversation with him. And maybe it's not being like, these are the things I need from you. These are the actions I need from you. Maybe it's, this is the outcome I want for our relationship. In an ideal world, this is what our relationship looks like. I'm willing to put in X, Y, Z. It would mean so much to me if you did, but if you didn't, this is what I'm going to do regardless. But even just setting up the scene too, because how can someone know? And then putting an expectation on it it sometimes puts like a wet blanket over the thing, where it's, oh man, I just want to give to you because I loved you, not because I have this expectation on me that I have to perform a certain way in order to show you that you're loved.
But then with that in mind, should I be avoiding that conversation, or not avoiding the conversation? That's a bad way of putting it, but just not having that conversation and just pouring the love that I have to give into these relationships. So into my dad, for example, if I'm giving that love without expecting anything back, I know that if I give that love and I make the effort, to be completely honest, I will get it back in that he will see me. I'll meet him, and which is more than, at the moment, I'm probably seeing him once a month, max, once every 2 months if I'm lucky. So yeah, do I just continue doing it the way that I've been doing it and being the one that's making the effort? Do I even need to have that conversation with him? It's a difficult conversation. I think that this is a conversation that I can have. I think the broader conversation that I'm struggling with my dad in particular, and my mum actually, because again, Savita felt that the effort that went into her Christmas gift from my mum was not quite reciprocated.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same level of effort that went into it that she put into my mum's gift. So I think especially with my dad though, he got Savita the jar of honey. He got my little sister, who he's always had a bit of a weird relationship with because the divorce happened when she was pretty young. So he just missed a lot of her growing up and building that relationship that he had with us, because he was always around until we were fairly old.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So he got Cheska a pair of earrings. This is the second or third time he's done this. Cheska doesn't have her ears pierced. So it just, to me, that kind of perfectly sums up his relationship with her.
Yeah.
And I don't want that to happen again. And I also want Cheska to feel seen and to feel known by my dad. And she found it funny. She was laughing about it, and I don't think she was hurt by it by any means. But I don't want my dad to continue doing that. But how do I bring that up? And it's going to be a difficult conversation. It will hurt him. It will make him upset. But again, is it on me to be having that conversation? I don't know. Is that not too much to ask of me?
Yes and no. Yes and no. I think it all depends on the outcome you want and the outcome you're desiring. And I think it goes, I think it comes down to number one, the outcome you want and the outcome you're desiring. And number two, how you go about approaching the conversation. It might not look like, I think the healthiest way to have the conversation would probably be, I care about you so much and I love you so much. And I know that our time together is so fleeting, especially as I'm growing up and you're aging. Like, I want to make sure that we are optimizing optimizing is not the right word, but I want to make sure that our relationship is like deep and we don't have any I don't have any regrets. I want to have a great relationship with you. And this is what that looks like to me, XYZ. This is the effort I'm going to put in. And then even if you bring up and be like, listen, like this is primarily about you and me. And I do also notice your relationship with my sisters and my girlfriend also dwindled. Be like, in a perfect world, this is how I would love your relationships with them to look like, because I see on the other side how they feel. And I think everyone would feel a lot more fulfilled in this way and be like, listen, I'm not in these relationships. I can't do anything, but this is what I would love to see. Is there a way that we can work on this together? And I don't know. I think it goes about the outcome you want and the way you approach the relationship, really. Like, what does that look
Yeah.
like? And also expecting, you can say what you want. And again, actions and reactions, right? The action would be having the conversation, but his reaction to it or what he does afterwards is not up to you. It's up to you to just react to however he responds.
That's it. I think for me, the more I talk about it and the more I think about it, the more I realize how important it is that I do communicate these things and that he does hear these things. And listen, at the end of the day, what's the worst that could happen? I have to ask myself that question. The worst that could happen is he'll get upset and it might cause an argument potentially, but it's not going to end my relationship with my dad. If anything, the best that could happen is that it causes positive change. But the worst that could happen is that it upsets him for a bit and we move on. Same with my mum, the difficult conversation that I definitely do have to have with my mum, but it's not as difficult as my dad. It will upset her, but what's the worst that could happen? And I think I have to ask myself that question going into any of these interactions. It's funny, as you grow up, and I know you've experienced it, but like TV shows, for example, where it's the Christmas period and there's all this family drama. And I used to have it when I was a kid. There was massive family drama, but I was never the one involved and I was never the one having to have these difficult conversations. But I'm 29 now. I'm 29 and I am getting to that age where suddenly it is me that has to have these difficult conversations if I want to see it. And I can leave it. I can leave it and nothing will change and it'll be the same next Christmas. And as you say, I think these things come up more so at Christmas than other times of year because you're with your family, you're exposed to your family where for a prolonged period where you might not be for the rest of the year. And I'm not. I don't see my dad particularly often. I see my mum maybe once a week or so, to be fair. But when everyone is suddenly together, the issues, the sort of long-standing issues suddenly rise back up, right?
Yeah.
And so I could just leave it and wait until the next big family gathering and for these issues to arise again. Or I can have that conversation. I can be the biggest person in my family and be the only one to actually have these difficult conversations. And I think that takes a lot of courage. And I think it's something that someone has to do. So why not me?
Exactly. And you're setting foundations for how you want to have dynamics moving forward. Like, you have to be the change you want to see. And a lot of times I think people sweep things under the rug and keep going and just allow these family dynamics to happen the way that they've always happened without being intentional and without being active about making the changes that they want to see. And it might be as simple as having a conversation about, listen, like, and not blaming. I think that's the key here, is not blaming and being like, you did XYZ or you didn't do XYZ. It's, this is the outcome, because it's not you versus them. It's you and them versus the problem. So it's, or you and them versus whatever. So it's, this is the outcome that I desire and the relationship that I want to have with you. And this is where we are now. These are the steps I want to take personally to get us there. I don't know if there's something like an outcome you want to have in our relationship or actions you feel would make sense to take. Just taking accountability and responsibility and like leading the way and like leading by example, I think is going to be the best way to do it, rather than being like, you didn't do this and you did this and blah, 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 blah. That's not, no one is responding that way. And it's putting a fucking wet towel and a wet blanket over the relationship. If you're like, you're not doing this for me and you're not doing that for me, no one wants to do anything for you if you're being not ungrateful, but if you're putting these expectations on them to do it.
Yeah.
Then it's not coming from a
exactly.
place of love. It's coming from a place of transactionality.
No, 100%, 100%. So I think the conversations are about more from a factual basis about this is what's happened. This is how it's made us feel. And ultimately, I think it's not about this is what needs to change. It's about getting the other person's perspective. I think if you can have a conversation with someone where you have an emotional impact on them, it should trigger change, right? And if it doesn't, that's on them at the end of the day, and you can then have a further conversation. But I think my parents are both emotional people. They react emotionally, they feel emotion. And so I think to have these conversations where I go, this is how it makes me feel, how it's making us feel, it should trigger the thought process that needs to happen. And it will, as I say, it will cause upset. It will cause a bit of hurt on both of my parents' side. I think they'll be upset about it, but it's not going to cause the breakdown of the relationship. And so it's definitely something I need to do. And I've never been that person who, I've always been someone who kind of avoids having these conversations, but then nothing changes, right? Nothing's going to change. Yeah. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
And definitely say, take the action, have the conversation, like be that person.
Yeah, no, definitely. So yeah, no, that's that. Otherwise, I guess I've been pretty good. Like it was a nice Christmas in general. There were just a couple of sour notes. I also drank way too much, which was not good. I ended up vomiting for the first time in years from alcohol. I was up literally all night on Christmas night, vomiting. Horrible. So I've decided now that I'm not going to drink for a while and really, really cut down on that. It was a result of drinking from like 12 p.m. all night until 1 a.m.
Yeah.
Various different alcohols. It was just silly. But yeah, otherwise all good. And I think after talking about it now and processing through it yesterday, I feel mentally in a much better headspace. So that's all good.
Yeah.
But yeah, how are you? How was your week or so?
Again, wheel of life. Some areas are going great and some areas are not. And for me, what's going great right now is I'm having the opposite experience of you. Is my family and friend relationships have never been better, like truthfully.
Nice.
I feel so connected to my family, especially after being away for a year. I think I did the math yesterday with my sister. I went to 60 cities this year.
Wow.
That's moving an average of
huge.
every 6 days for the last year.
Huge.
Yeah, it's
Wow.
crazy. And after being away, I've had this newfound appreciation for my time with them. Especially missing Thanksgiving. I think that was, as hard as it was and as challenging as it was for a lot of reasons, it made me so grateful for like our family and our traditions and our holidays. And I was so excited to spend Christmas with my family, and we just kept it so low key. We did what we always do. Like we did our regular traditions and we kept it so chill, so low key, no drama. It was just really nice to spend time with them. And you think these family traditions, and this is something I think I've learned also, especially in the Paris leg or in general, but specifically in the Paris leg, is every moment in time is so ephemeral and so temporary, especially with certain people in certain locations at certain times. And you think when you do these family traditions that they're forever, right? And you like especially when you're growing up and you're doing all these things, like the regular traditions that I've had with my family, we've been doing now for as long as I can remember. But then and you think that these things are all going to be permanent, but then when you're in them or when you come back after a fresh perspective, after understanding everything's temporary, I feel like I was so much more present and enjoyed it so much more because I'm like, wow, this is so temporary. Because this year with my sister, like her boyfriend there was a little bit of tension between them about where they spent Christmas. And I was like, wow, like at one point they might not spend Christmas with us. At one point, we're going to be my parents will be moving, or at one point I'll have a partner and we'll have to split holidays, and it changes. And just like being able to be so present and so be like, wow, like I get to really enjoy these things right now while I have them. I enjoyed it so much more. And I've just loved spending so much time with my loved ones the last 2 weeks, the last week, and then this upcoming week. So I'm home for 2 weeks, and every single day I'm seeing a different loved one, and there's not enough time. I'm seeing some family and friends multiple times this week, just really getting in my good quality time. It's a lot of nostalgia. So my friend relationship, my family relationships feel incredible. They feel so good. I feel so loved and supported by them. And it's really, really nice to just be with my loved ones. That's the area that's going really well.
Nice.
As
Good.
far,
That's important.
Right. And I think it's important to see the dichotomy there, because in some ways we go immediately to the negative, and it's no, like, that's not true. Like in this trade-off of things that are not going well, there are things that are going super, super well too. So there is a dichotomy, and I think it's important to say that for myself too, is remember, it's not all bad. There are great things that are coming right now. Yeah.
It's really important. I think it's important to start or focus on the positive, prioritize the positive, because for me, based on what I've just been saying, you would think that I've been in a terrible place and that my Christmas was a disaster. And I actually spoke to Bella about it yesterday, and I said Christmas for me was a bit shit. It was not ideal. And she was like, why? What happened? I explained it. And then I started thinking about it afterwards, and I was like, there were like 3 or 4 really shitty things that happened, but actually I had a great time, and I'm just focusing on the negative, and it's so easy to get bogged down in the negative.
Yeah.
So no, it's really important to do that.
Yeah, and let's start with the positive. Like it's overall, yeah, life is really, really tough right now for me, and I'm getting down a little bit, but there are things that are going really well at the same time. So that's what's positive. As far as where I'm feeling challenged right now, I'd say, and I was thinking about it last night when I couldn't sleep. I remember this time we were chatting about, it must have been a couple weeks or months ago, you were going through something, and like the trifecta of sometimes the most core pieces of the wheel of life were not working well for you. And I think we decided it was like career, health, and relationships. Now for me, my romantic relationship is non-existent, and this is kind of the first time haven't been talking to anyone. I've having people slide into my DMs, but I'm not entertaining them. I'm double tapping it. I don't care. And I went on, I think we talked about it. Like I went on one date, like not last weekend, the weekend before. Maybe we talked about it. Yeah.
No, we didn't. I don't remember hearing about this.
With Dr. Leprechaun's best friend.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Other than that, I haven't been entertaining anybody, haven't been talking to anybody. But again, like really so neutral to that right now. I'm so okay with that, because I just don't have the space right now in this moment of life, like to entertain anybody. I will say the areas that I'm really feeling challenged with right now are my physical health. For sure. I haven't worked out regularly or eaten well in what feels like months at this point, but I know it's not. I just know that in my travels, there were periods where I was super consistent with the working out. At least the food, I gave myself a little bit more leeway because I was traveling and wanted to experience that piece of the culture. But also when I was traveling, it really wasn't too bad. It's been bad since I've been back home and back in the States. Like and especially around Christmas, just the amount of cookies in my house is a problem. It's just a fucking problem. And you go out to eat and there's nothing to do. Like I wake up at 9 a.m. and it looks like the sun's about to go down. It's so dark. So you're not going out like for workouts or for walks or for anything active. You're going for meals. You're going like, okay, let's go get breakfast. Let's go get lunch. Let's go get dinner. It's becoming the social thing. And I'm not eating well. Can't tell you last time I had a fucking vegetable. Last night I had Brussels sprouts. But other than last night, I've barely eaten a vegetable. I'm not eating well, and I haven't been working out, and my clothes are feeling tight, and And then I started beating myself up, and I'm like, okay, that's the most dangerous thing, is when I start to beat myself up, because in one hand I was telling myself, okay, when I'm home, I get the chance to rest. I get the chance to just come down after this year of whatever the hell this year was. And then today I'm getting back on it. Like today I'm going for a workout tonight. So I was like, okay, not enough. Like as long as I can move and just eliminate some of this excess sugar. And I think this is also playing such a huge factor in my like mental health as well, but my mental health has not been great. And I think mental health will go to more towards the end. But yeah, physical health, not great. Career is right now in this moment, I am hating. I'm dreading my work right now. And again, could be just because of the holiday season, could just be because it's exceptionally bad right now. I've never had issues this bad at work ever, and it's never been this busy. And I have help. Like Steph is helping a lot. And she's helping. I have help, and it's still really intense. I think I'd feel better about it if I'm getting so much heat from one side from like the customers, but I'm also getting heat from the team. And when I have both in on me at the same time, it just is soul breaking. Like I started having Sunday scaries Saturday at midnight. I remember it was Saturday at midnight, and it's like, oh, it's Sunday morning now. Oh my God, I have to work on Monday. And I've never had, I don't think, maybe, and I've been working for this company for 5 years, almost 5 years. I say in the last 5 years of work, there have been maybe a handful of times I felt, oh, like I don't want to fucking work tomorrow.
Even at this time of year?
I'd be like, oh, this is hard, but never this type of like absolute dread. It's always just, I had to work tomorrow and I'm not looking forward to it, but not this like sense of existential dread. This is ruining my soul. You can't. I'm dying. And at the same time, is it burnout? I feel so burnt out in general. I feel so burnt out in general that is it burnout? I think it's a combination of everything. I think it's a combination of burnout. It's a combination of the issues are really bad. It's a combination of getting heat from the team internally as well. So I don't feel, not only am I fighting wars, I just don't feel quite like supported by my team. And if you're fighting a war and your teammates are telling you you're doing a shit job, it doesn't make you want to fight the war. It doesn't make you want to do that. It makes you be like, oh. So that's happening, and in some ways I'm looking at, and it's something I've been talking about a lot with you, is I feel like I'm at the precipice of big jumps in my career, both in my 9-to-5 and in my business. And I still feel that way. And up until recently, it's been with just such an air of excitement and then recently, and I don't know if, again, this could be the mental health thing and how mental health hasn't been good, but recently it's been more of like oh my God, how the fuck am I going to do this? Can I even do this? I'm barely keeping it together as it is right now, increasing the work levels. Like, how the hell am I going to manage all of this? I don't know. And just questioning and just not feeling excited about it. I'm feeling overwhelmed about it. So that's whatever. And then financially, I think I've been avoiding looking at everything because I just have all written it off under this year. I'm going to be spending more because I'm doing what I'm doing. And I did do that. And granted, it's not like I'm in debt by any means. I'm still great. But I think this next year, 2026, is something I really wanted to focus on the finances. And again, give myself some time and grace to get into that routine of whatever that looks like. But I'm feeling it now. Like I've avoided this thing for so long because I've been focusing and prioritizing other things, but now I'm feeling overwhelmed. It's like overwhelmed, and the amount of shit that needs to get done before I leave, just like with admin of I'm only home for 2 weeks. I had to unpack everything and repack everything, and just getting my surgery in 2.5 weeks. And there's a lot of prep that goes into that, and just so much. There's just so much. And will say the one thing is, yeah, my to-do lists are ridiculously overwhelming, but I don't feel that's hard to say because I still feel ridiculously stressed, but I don't feel like crippling, overwhelming stress. I'm just like, yeah, the lists are long, and the things that'll get done are the things that are going to get done, and that's okay. And
Okay,
yeah.
that's a better mindset to have.
Better. I'm like, oh yeah, the shit will get done. Like, it's okay. Like, I'm gonna do my best, and I'll do my best, and I'll put in the time and work. I know right now, this is frustration just means you're about to have a breakthrough. Confusion just means you're about to learn something. Breakdown before breakthrough. This is just the tough time after coming out of Tony Robbins. Is this some sort of lesson test? I'm sure it is some sort of lesson test sign from the universe, whatever, coming straight out of Tony Robbins and straight into this utter mayhem that's been my life with everything. Yeah. And just,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's a lot, and it's been a lot for a long time. First of all, with the physical health, it sounds like in terms of your headspace, you're on the right track,
Yeah.
which is good. It's that time of year. It's Christmas, it's Thanksgiving, it's the festive period, which is the time when we do eat a lot and we stop working out and we step into a comfort zone.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's absolutely fine. I've been the same. I've been working really fucking hard over the last few months to lose weight and working out constantly and eating super healthy. And I allowed myself to indulge over the last week or so. Obviously, we don't do Thanksgiving, so that wasn't really an issue for me over a longer period. But over the Christmas week, and still, to be honest, to this day, and probably for the next few days, because it's Bella's birthday tomorrow, we got New Year's Eve, I'm allowing myself to indulge. And I am keeping an eye on my weight. I'm keeping up with my daily check-ins and stuff. And it's fluctuated. It's gone up by a couple of kg, it's gone down, but ultimately I'm allowing myself that space, and I think it's really important to do that and not to put too much pressure on whether your clothes are fitting after a period like this.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that you're getting back on it today. So am I. I'm also going to the gym after this call.
Perfect.
So that's good. In terms of career, I think it's a really interesting time for you. I think because I'm hearing more and more of this negative talk about your job over the last year, or I'd say the last kind of few months, definitely.
Yeah.
It's definitely picked up, and then the last month or so, which is obviously a very difficult, busy period for you always. It sounds like it's definitely got worse, and the feedback from your boss has been difficult. So it's an interesting time because it sounds like it's coming to a point where maybe the universe is pushing you in a certain direction.
Yeah.
We've spoken before about your goal to get your podcast signed, and actually how that's kind of your long term, even next year, right? Like we were talking about this in the very
Yeah.
near future.
Yeah.
And I feel like, the way you're feeling, and yes, it probably is burnout because you've got so much on your plate and you've had a mad year. And again, we've spoken about how you're probably feeling burnt out. I think it is probably the universe pushing you in a certain direction, saying this is the way you need to be moving away from.
Yeah.
It's a sign that you've been talking over the last year about which direction or the progression of your career at this company, and whether you want to progress that career or whether you want to take a different direction. And I feel like this is a sign in a certain direction. So it's a really interesting time, but I think you need to give yourself at least after this tough period, to maybe start to settle back into a more consistent routine, consistent groove of things.
Yeah.
But just give it time after that as well to allow yourself to figure out stuff with the podcast, to figure out where your head is when it's in a calmer place.
Yeah.
Because you will be in a calmer place. You've just had a mad year.
Yeah, exactly. And it's something I'm sitting on too right now. Is I was talking to a girlfriend last night on the phone, and I was saying, like, I'm really, and it's funny that you were saying earlier, have something to look forward to. And I was like, the thing I'm looking forward to is having a regular routine. There is nothing I'm looking forward to more than having a regular ass routine. And I think about it, and I'm not going to be able to have a regular routine until February 1st, which is a month away. And that's tough and challenging. It's just also, okay, like how can I structure the next month to set me up for when I am in that routine? I'm like ready to just be in my flow and ready to just like be in that. And it's okay. Like I had my surgery mid-January. So those 2 weeks are like, okay, it looks like rest. And then it looks like rest for those 2 weeks. Like how can I do as much as I can to focus on these other things so that when that period comes, like I can actually take a real rest, because I'm not going to be able to work in the same way. I'm not going to be able to like do a lot of the same things. And I'm burnt out, but I'm going to be forced to sit and do nothing and forced to just sit and rest. In the meantime, it's how can I set myself up for success before then? Like the priority needs to be focusing on the work and the admin and just getting myself set up for that time. So and then get myself up for those 2 weeks, let's call it 2 weeks of rest. Those 2 weeks of rest before February 1st, where I can jump into a routine and get into the actual thing. And my goal is to have everything prepared and ready in order to pitch by April 1st. So that would be like all of February, all of March to sit and like really, really work on, okay, I've developed this huge body of work. How do I take all of that and bring it this? And that would be the focus for February and March. But in the meantime, like, how could I just set myself up for that time?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think with your mindset, the way you think or the way you're thinking, you're probably in a position where you will quite comfortably do enough in the next couple of weeks to build up for those 2 weeks of rest. I think beyond those couple of weeks, I think while you're resting, you probably need to think about what your routine looks like and what a plan looks like.
Yeah.
Don't work on it, but I think it's a perfect time when your head is actually clear and calm to think about what those following couple of months look like,
Yeah.
and what it's going to look like when you're ready to get back on it after resting.
Yeah.
So I think don't put too much pressure on the after now. But I also think that those 2 weeks, I know from my own experience, when I'm having like a week or 2 weeks off, I feel so fucking fired up, right? Because your body has had a chance to reset, your mind has had a chance to reset, and you just by the end of it, you're in such a calm kind of a calm place that you're ready to take on the world.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a good time, those couple of weeks when you're resting. You're gonna finish those couple of weeks and you're gonna want to get straight back on it, and you're gonna have this plan, you're gonna have this routine. I think it needs to be a healthy routine,
Yeah.
of to make sure that you don't burn out. If there is a way that you can do that, which I'm sure there
It's
is.
already bubbling in my head. I feel like I already have it. It's just I need to put it down and then put it in action. But obviously give it the time that it needs.
Give it the time, yeah. But I
Yeah.
think you're gonna be so fired up after those couple of weeks of rest that it's just gonna come naturally.
Yeah. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so. Yeah. It's just like getting to that point.
See that point?
And then it's
Yeah.
every day, like what needs to happen in order to set it up.
No, of course, of course. But I think you've got it in you to sort of power through those couple of weeks. I think there are certain mechanisms you can put into place over that time or in these next few weeks, which can help alleviate the stress and the pain. Things like working out and eating healthily and meditating, and there's so many different healthy things that you can implement into your routine that don't take a huge amount of time, but they are something that should be part of your daily routine anyway.
Yeah.
You acknowledged yourself that you haven't been working out, you haven't been eating particularly healthily. That's going to have an impact on your stress levels and on
Yeah.
your mental health, a direct impact. So you really need to make sure that, as I said, it's fine. It's Christmas. You're allowed to relax a bit and stop working out and stop eating healthily for a bit, but get back on it.
Yeah.
That's gonna be what's gonna really help you power through the next few weeks.
Yeah, completely. And I see the stark contrast. I see the difference between just like my self-talk, how I feel about myself, how I feel about life when I'm in the flow and like working on whatever and working out and eating healthy versus not. And even if I'm just doing the things every day that make me feel good, even if I'm not seeing the results, it's just that I like the feeling of that progress and the feeling of, oh, today I did something that I feel like the best version of myself today, or I went towards the best version of myself today. Even just doing those things, like I can feel the difference in all of it. And I'm glad that today I'm already being like, okay, today I'm spending a ridiculous amount of time on my mental health and physical. I'll be working on it tonight. And like, okay, today, like I'm just going to do my best. I'm just going to do my best and restructure what I can. So that's okay, what needs to happen right now? What can wait a week? What can wait 2 weeks? And like almost planning it all out so that I can zoom in and do what I need to do before. Because like I look at the to-do list and I'm like, okay, not all of this needs to be done today. It
No.
can, like, some of these
Yeah.
things can wait a week, 2 weeks. So like
I'm
what
sure.
needs to be done while I'm here and just prioritizing that so it doesn't
Yeah.
feel so overwhelming.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think it's about prioritizing certain things on your to-do list, and I think there has to be a level of tiers to your to-do list so that you don't look at it and go, holy shit, this is huge. I feel so overwhelmed. So I think there has to be kind of a priority tier list of ways that a way that you don't feel so overwhelmed
Yeah,
by such
exactly.
a growing and big to-do list.
Yeah, completely, completely. So I think that's something I'd love to do today is to look at all of it and then, at least for the next month, block out what can happen each week of this month so that this whole big thing isn't falling down on me like all at once. It's okay, this week I can do this thing and like it just will set me up for success in the best way.
Yeah.
Yeah. But today's the start. Today's the start of it all and we're getting into it.
You have to start somewhere. And I also think, I always find that the 28th of December is usually when I start to focus on my goals for the new year and my new habits and New Year's resolutions, that kind of, when I actually, everything starts to come into my mind, I start writing it all down. Um, so I think these few days between Christmas and New Year are really important to set yourself up in the right way for the new year.
Yeah. Yeah. Completely. Like, how do I set myself up for success and how do I, yeah, like really sit and think about it. I feel like all of these like goals and ideas and everything is they're all swirling in my brain and they're all there, but just getting them down and strategizing them in a way that's like really actionable, I think is going to be the key. And no, the key is making space for myself to do this because it's like
Yeah,
it's the time and space. Like you want to be in a good energy, you want to be in a good vibe, you want to have your own bubble, your own space to do that. And it's like, where can I build in this space to do this? Yeah.
exactly. But you're capable of it. And I think you just need to be doing the healthy things to allow yourself that healthy mindset and healthy space to do these things basically.
Yeah, completely. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. I think maybe our next session, I don't know when you have time, but maybe our next session we can go over like last year's goals versus this year's goals. Like I'd love a mastermind around that. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll figure it out. But anyway, guys, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
A whole other year. I'm so excited. And yeah, we'll catch you guys next week on Mastermind Moments.
See you next week.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode.
Don't forget to subscribe, leave us a review, and follow along on social media.
If you would like us to help you mastermind something in your life, please send us a message.
We'll see you next week on the Mastermind Moments podcast.